The content of this video is crucial. It will teach you the correct way to use your brain for thinking, helping you escape the mental exhaustion and negative emotions caused by idle thoughts and aimless mental activity. If you can make a breakthrough here, your life will undergo a qualitative transformation. Today, I'll share with you how to control your brain. Before diving in, let me first outline 4 common traits and habits of those who are often trapped in idle thoughts and mental loops. You can reflect on yourself and identify if these apply to you. First, there are real problems in life, but you start overthinking before taking even a single exploratory action. Second, you base your thoughts on assumptions and then repeatedly imagine the various possibilities and scenarios tied to those assumptions. Third, you believe that thinking equals existence, that thinking itself is living, and that thinking alone can provide answers or solve real-life problems. Fourth, most critically, after all the thinking, no actions are ever taken, but emotions are generated instead. If you find yourself with all 4 of these traits, you must remain vigilant and cautious, as your brain is leading you step by step into a downward spiral without you realizing it. Here's something you might never have heard before. Have you noticed how today's cultural works, speeches, books, articles, or even short videos are saturated with the glorification of thinking? The reason for this is that those who dominate these narratives are often intellectuals skilled in thinking and expression. Naturally, they elevate the status of thinking to a pedestal. Over time, we've come to regard thinking as the most important activity in the world. This idea is further solidified by René Descartes' famous quote, "I think, therefore I am." It leads many to believe that only through thinking are we truly alive and that time spent thinking is never wasted. Stopping our thoughts, on the other hand, feels like becoming an unfeeling, lifeless husk destined for societal elimination, especially since those who think rule the world. Thus, we begin blindly worshipping the act of thinking, endlessly plunging ourselves into the illusory world of our minds. When we stop thinking, we feel restless, much like a smoker who suddenly has no cigarettes. The truth about thinking. Here's the reality: reading a cookbook rarely teaches you how to cook. Performing theoretical analysis won't make you a swimmer. Knowing all the boxing techniques and strategies won't stop you from getting punched. And mastering stock market charts won't prevent you from losing money. The issue is this: thinking and doing are fundamentally different realms. All your untested thoughts remain hypothetical and unknown. As Wang Yaoming emphasized, to know but not to act is not to know. Even if you read all the classics and reflect on the wisdom of sages, it's still meaningless unless you put it into practice. In my courses, I often see people sharing detailed thoughts about others, life, personal growth, or spirituality, asking me for feedback. My consistent response is this: besides thinking, what actions have you taken? Have you tested or tried applying these ideas, even in small and simple ways? If not, I suggest you start there. If you have, then I'd prefer to discuss the process of your experimentation rather than the result of your thinking, because enlightenment is never born from thinking. This doesn't mean I'm dismissing thinking altogether. I fully acknowledge its value as a tool. However, in our daily lives, we overestimate its importance, and worse, we rarely think correctly. Correct thinking is always tied to actions and specific steps for handling real-life situations. Most of the time, what we call thinking is nothing but mental idling. Mental idling and its pitfalls. Mental idling, thinking disconnected from wisdom and action, turns our brain into an endless loop of meaningless activity. This state of mind consumes our awareness and becomes our identity, leading to negative emotions like anxiety, frustration, depression, stress, and emptiness. It's akin to escaping reality by playing a self-gratifying virtual game where you can experiment and explore without any costs. But the more you indulge in this mental world, the harder it becomes to return to reality. This kind of thinking offers no real value. It doesn't help us cook a meal, solve a problem, or improve our lives. Worse, it creates the illusion of understanding and mastery. But when faced with real-life situations, you realize how powerless and absurd your thoughts truly were. Even analysis and imagination are just reconfigurations of what already exists in your mind. True inspiration, wisdom, and insight are born in the present moment and can never be forced through deliberate thinking. The correct way to think. To use your brain correctly, I propose the following. First, be aware that you are thinking. Elevate, I think, therefore I am to. I am aware that I think, therefore I am. Second, only think in connection with actions. Use your brain as a tool to solve specific steps in specific tasks. For example, when self-reflecting, if you're consciously treating it as an actionable task, it's okay to think. However, aimless self-criticism is not thinking, it's being lost in thought. Third, always ask yourself, how can I turn this thought into action? Be vigilant about thoughts that cannot translate into short-term actions and terminate these idle loops. Fourth, practice mindfulness and meditation. Gradually experience the quiet state of being unbound from mental activity. Here, life truly begins. Finally, remember, the brain and thinking are incredible tools, but only if you use and control them. Don't let them control you.